Hi, I'm Stephanie J. Block.
And I'm Mary Lee Fairbanks,
Welcome to Season 3 of Stages Podcast.
where we continue to bring creation and connection to center stage. Hi, everyone. I just wanted to let you know that from now on, we're going to be releasing our episodes on Monday mornings instead of Sundays. But as always, you'll be able to go back and listen to any episodes that you want on iHeartRadio Broadway, iHeartRadio, or anywhere that you listen to podcasts. And while you're at it, why don't you go and give us a 5-star review? We'd really appreciate that. Enjoy today's episode.
When you and I talk over Instagram, your handle, or however, the 20s and 30s years old, they need to inform us. But you've got a candle, you have a wave, you have a white heart, a mermaid, and a butterfly. Can you explain that for me?
Well, I'm a witch, Stephanie.
Gosh, I've just introduced 2 witches because Mary Lee is also. She dances on
girl.
the moon with candles and feathers and all sorts of things.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh, I love it. We're everywhere.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
The coven is everywhere.
Yeah, it's everywhere.
I'm so happy to have a new member. We're going to need to get together on the next
I
full
got
moon,
this.
girl.
I got this yesterday.
I got this less than a week ago. My first one, lady.
The first one.
My
How did you
first
feel
one.
getting it?
Well, here's the thing. When I decide to do something, I very rarely vacillate, right? So I'd wanted a tattoo for a while. I thought it was going to be like a dandelion because Vivi always makes wishes. It doesn't matter where we go. We have to stop, pick it, make the wish, blow. And then the little pollen that goes out from it, I was going to have little V's and I's going out into the world. But then she took a Sharpie a couple weeks ago and did her autograph on my arm. And from there I went, oh, I love that. That's my tattoo that I'm going to get. Look, my husband, that would take him, I don't know, 3 years to decide. And then if they said I'm going to have to move the location, it would take him another 3 years to figure out but me, when I decide and I see it,
Done.
it's done.
Yeah.
Done.
I'm
So,
getting my first one too in June. In June, my son turns 18 and we're going to go on his birthday and we're all going to get tattoos.
I love
Oh
it.
my
I
God.
love it.
I was so jealous when I saw your picture. I was like, she got one. I'm so jealous because I'm getting really pumped. I almost got one when I was in my 20s. When I was in my 20s, I backpacked through Tahiti and
Oh
Australia.
my God, that's so cool.
And I was this close to getting a tribal band on my arm and on my finger. Like, was going to get a Tahitian band, and a Tahitian friend was going to do it. And I chickened out last minute because I thought I'm going to get like this. Like, it wasn't like a real tattoo shop. It was like
It was one of the. It was
Yeah.
one of
like
the
a henna
yeah.
or something? Oh,
no, it was like the way they
Like a
used to
tribal
do it.
tattoo.
Yeah,
Oh,
tribal.
I see,
And so
I
I was
see.
afraid that I wouldn't heal, and I wasn't going home for like another 6-7 months. And
That's
so I didn't
scary.
do it. And I regretted it. But then when I got home, everybody got tribal tattoos. And I was like, oh, I'm so glad I didn't do it because I don't want something that everybody has.
That's right.
Yeah, which is
And
why
now
I
you
love
just
what
now
you
you just
picked.
silently take the credit for starting a trend.
That's right. That's right.
Congratulations.
Sometimes we have guests on the show, and when I'm reading and learning about them, I cannot help but compare who I was at the same age. And holy crap, I wish I were more like this woman. I wish I just knew this woman when I was in my 20s because she's a powerhouse and she's a badass. And I really could have used a powerhouse badass friend like that when I was just starting out in New York. She stars in Hadestown 4 years since its opening in April of 2018. She received a Grammy Award and a Tony nomination for her performance as Eurydice in the show. She has also received a Tony nomination for her performance in the title role of Kim in Miss Saigon in 2017, which she also performed in the West End. And a little sidebar, her aunt was in the original company of the same show in 1991 and predicted that her niece would be on Broadway as Kim one day.
I did not know that. Did not know that.
Hi, you're
Crazy,
interrupting my
right?
intro. This
I'm
is the intro.
sorry. You got to go with
my
the flow,
God.
ML.
Okay, she also performed the role of Eponine in Les Mis on the West End. She was most recently featured in the Amblin feature Easter Sunday and as the lead in the Apple TV Plus animated film Luck. Please welcome the bold, beautiful, ballsy, badass, and brilliant Eva Noblezada.
Eva Noblezada to stage, please. Eva, will you come to stage?
Hello.
Yay!
Oh, wow, I'm so excited.
Hi. I want to jump into Eurydice because I looked up what that meant, and it means wide justice. How do you
Oh.
feel about the meaning of that name? What does that mean to you, if at all?
Well, that's wonderful. I think the justice part feels right because in any iteration of the story, you've never really heard Eurydice speak. I mean, in any like old story, I feel like even in the Bible, like Eve makes the mistake. Do you know what I mean? Like, so
Yep.
it's nice to hear of a story of women empowerment for self rather than for love. I think that Hadestown has created a Eurydice that has a mind of her own, and it makes me sad sometimes when people say, "Oh, it's Orpheus's fault that he turns at the end," and I'm like, "Well, it's not really his fault because there are other players. So it's just the effect. It's just what happens because of everything, not because he's bad, but because of everything that's happened that has been so tragic." So why justice feels like armor, but it also feels like it's nice to have a Eurydice that has something to say. This version of Eurydice just feels like she's here and she has what she has to say, and she's unafraid, but she also is afraid of falling in love, which I think is one of the most beautiful things to watch. Somebody who's so like reactive to the environment, like soften into the arms of somebody else, which is, I think is just so beautiful. But yeah, that's a beautiful. I didn't actually know that. Thank you for telling me.
Gosh, soften into the arms of love. What a gorgeous thing that is.
Mm.
And you've been with this character now for quite a long time. So
85
you,
years.
85 frigging years. And that was just last week. Do you know what I
No,
mean?
no, what do you
So
mean?
for you, you have, I don't want to say grown up, but grown into or lived a lot of life while being attached to this character.
Yeah.
You see her through different eyes now?
Oh my gosh, yes. I mean, I feel like I'm always growing up, and I'm always kind of reconnecting to the innocence that was Eva when I was like 5, 4. You know what I mean? I feel like I'm always going to be reconnecting to her as I get older. But yeah, I mean, everything changes all the time. Like, there's no like constant in life except for me. So I guess being a part of something for so long, like you never want to be stale and you never want to
Right.
be stagnant. So you have to find ways to like freshen things up or to challenge yourself to dig deeper into a moment. Or maybe like now I'm so tired. Like, what can I do to not try so hard to tell the story? What am I plowing through when I can actually just like surrender to the story
Mm.
and let it speak for itself? Maybe I won't have to work so hard and stuff like that. It's always changing Eurydice. And I think the pandemic really shifted how I felt about the feeling of gripping something so tightly out of fear that it will go away, and putting that into my performance because, we were out of a job for 18 months. And other than like, we had to do what we could in the pandemic to get jobs and to pay our rent, to make ends meet. So I mean, I'm very fortunate that I'd never experienced that feeling before. So going through that and coming back to the theater, I was like, wow, I have a different idea of what she would have felt like coming into that first scene, like cold and hungry. Don't talk to me. Who are you? Like, why are you approaching me? It was different because it was real.
Yeah. Well, and that
Yeah.
isolation then makes the moments when you do fall into the softness of love, like you said, even more beautiful, even more.
Absolutely.
It's more of a drastic switch in who she grows into. It's really amazing.
Absolutely.
You just said something that struck with me too, is like reconnecting with the 4 or 5-year-old Eva. I
Yeah.
remember
Yeah.
I'm so critical of myself, especially in performance. I'm actually more critical of myself with what I do on stage than what I do in life, which is wildly backwards, but that's where we are. But before I had Vivi, I used to have a little picture of me at, I guess I was 3 or 4, and I'm looking up in the sun and I'm squinting, and it's like an old 1976 soft rounded edged picture that I would put on my dressing room mirror to be like, whatever you would say to that little person is what you're allowed to say to this adult human.
Yeah.
Now it's Vivi. Now I look at her
Yeah.
little picture and say, be soft to yourself, because
Wow.
you would never say that to that little one. Do you remember who you were when you were that age, or characteristics that you think, oh gosh, Eva was so special at that age because?
Oh my gosh, yes. I feel more connected to her than any version of myself that I've ever been because I think we all grow up so fast and we're all forced to go to college and forced to find a career and forced to know what we're going to do to support ourselves before we even know who we are. That's just how the schooling system here works. And so I lost myself in the best way for a few years, and it made me cling to young Eva even more because in my most authentic, real form, I'm just her. I'm just taller and I pay taxes, just
Right,
that's the only
right.
so which is great because it gives me enough structure to have freedom in my life of knowing who I am and knowing what boundaries I want to set. And I'm trying my best to love her so much more than I neglected her for a few years, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
But I knew exactly who I was, and my parents knew that I knew exactly who I was. My parents had me when they were very young. My mom had me when she was 17. My parents were so young, and so as when I was born, it was almost like they were being reborn, in a way. So we all did it together. And I remember this one moment when I was like 5, like I was watching my parents, and I was like, oh, no one really knows what we're doing. So I guess we just got all like, I see, I see. It was crazy. When I told my therapist that, she was like, that's very interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I
Well,
love that.
And
That's
then you
great.
end up grown up at such a young
at
age. You were thrust
17.
into
Yes.
professionalism, and you really have like done your own thing and figured it out on your own.
Totally.
Now, I, as a grown woman, when I met Claude Michel Schoenberg and Alain Boublil, had a great affinity to them, but there was so much like discerning and dissecting and going, okay, Claude Michel is pacing and rubbing his head. Does he hate me, or is he thinking about something else? And then Alain is this whole different sort of
He's so different.
being wrapped in cashmere and Gucci loafers and like in a corner figuring something else out. I can only imagine at 17 what that looked like to you, because they are two really interesting birds on their own.
Yes, very
Interesting
much.
combination when they're together. And I would get these tapes of, all right, Stephanie, now the next song I'm writing for you goes, Zubababutuzaka, Zubabadiko, and I'm like, oh
What?
my God, how am I supposed to learn this song?
And he's like, go now. Do it
And he
now.
goes, yeah, and go. And I'm, oh. So what was your first impression of them?
I think for the revival, they were not as like holding the reins because it was such a um like skeleton cinematic production of what the
Yeah,
original was.
yeah.
And so I think because they knew that it was so anticipated and everyone like they kind of already knew that the limited run was kind of sold in London because so more ease, less hard work.
Yeah.
And it kind of felt nice. And I was just happy to be there, to be honest with you. I had more of a difficult time with just understanding what it meant to be a lead because that was what I was working for. And I completely just forgot and was not, reminded that if I lose myself, then I can't, excuse me, show up to work with full capacity to do anything that I would like to do.
Right.
So that was the hardest lesson because I'm with all these incredible actors and these dancers who have been in the industry longer than I've been alive, some of them. And so I'm just in awe of all these just statuesque legends. And I'm like, I I had a babysitting job and I told the kid to shut up. I made $20 That's all I've done. I'd only done one regional production. I'd done high school stuff, but other than that, like most of my studying wasn't at Tisch or Juilliard or like
Right.
some amazing school in London. It was like in my closet, like with
Yes.
myself. So I felt very out of place. But the great thing was everybody's goal for that show was the same. So there was a lot of camaraderie, there was a lot of teamwork. And if it wasn't for people like John Briones, I wouldn't have made it. That's one of my best friends in my entire life.
You both were so glorious. I was there opening night, actually with Claude Michel and his wife. And watching you, my jaw just dropped. Watching you through the eyes of a mother and the care, but the realism with which you would hold your son and still had you're gonna have to bleep this out, shit to do, and worlds, the great sacrifice that you gave. But I walked away going, she was everything I needed Kim to be, everything I needed as a mother I wanted her to be. And I was ugly crying, sister, ugly crying in that theater. And you are a monster talent. So when did you know in your closet, I am remarkable? Like, this instrument is different.
Oh, that's very kind. I don't know, because I always knew that I had a deep love for being a part of some what I understood at a young age to be storytelling. Like I was so lucky to have a family that was so supportive of me, and I was somewhat raised by my grandparents in San Diego because my parents were so young. They had jobs and they were going to school, and I would just have this big backyard to just live in my own world. And I would be there out there all day by myself talking to my imaginary friends who were probably ghosts. And honestly, that's really fucking cool. But you know what I mean? But talking to myself, setting the scene, like imagining that like I would like put like mud and rocks and like twigs and dirt into a big bucket and call it my potion. And I would like I don't know, I really like I needed to be a part of a story that took leveled me up. And I that was so special to me. And I watched how that affected the people in my life, like my mom and my dad, and how eager they were to ask questions. And if Little Mermaid was playing on the VHS, I'd be like, sing part of your world. I was so eager to do that. And so from a young age, I didn't know what the word performer was, but I knew that that was what I was.
Did you have any siblings?
Yes, I have two beautiful younger siblings. My sister Olivia, who just turned 20 on March 1st, and my brother Ian, who turns 16 in July. They're my children. They feel they're my babies. I love them with all of my heart, and that's kind of the reason why I was able to kind of, understand that feeling of mother and sacrifice, because I watched my mom do that with me, and I watched her sacrifice everything to raise me. I mean, 17, I remember how the world was full of my dreams and possibilities. And like, I couldn't imagine having a child, like finding out that I was pregnant at 17 and then realizing, oh, all that's gone. Now everything is dedicated. That to me is the ultimate sacrifice.
When I hear you say how you were like in your backyard and, building little things and imaginary friends and all that stuff, I was very much like that when I was a little kid too. I was always in my yard with animals. And I have this really strong memory of, I must have been about 5 or 6. And I was outside and I had rabbits and I was in the rabbit coop and I was playing with the rabbits, and I came in the house and I said something, and I think it was to my grandmother. And she said, well, where did you hear that? And I said, well, the rabbit just told me. And she was like, rabbits don't talk. And I remember in that instant, a switch flicked off for me. And I couldn't hear them talk anymore because I thought, I'm weird because they can talk to me. And a part of my soul like turned off in that moment because I thought I wanted so much to be normal because I was such a strange little weird loner kid. And I think a lot of musical theater people have all that in us. We're all, what were we calling ourselves with David? Little aliens, right? We're all little weird aliens. But I remember that was the first time I turned a part of myself off to be like the rest of the world. And so I wondered, did you ever have like those moments where you were so different and so special? You seem like the kind of person that totally embraces exactly who you are and always has. At least that's how you come across
That's very nice. I appreciate that. I've been definitely doing a lot of shadow work because everyone talks about my Saturn return. And I feel like I turned 27 on Saturday.
Oh, happy birthday.
So I feel responsible to make sure that I'm finishing this chapter strong so that I can enter my next chapter strong. And one of the things that I do struggle with a lot is imposter syndrome. And I realize though, the easy way to help heal that is to understand that whoever's speaking and calling and making me feel like an imposter is not at all connected to who I am. It's something that people have said that created a monster of other people's opinions and other people's expectations of me. So that does make me feel a little better going in knowing that none of it's true, which is nice, but it doesn't mean it's not scary because we work in an industry that we're constantly having to literally please people. And it's based off of the reaction of people. So if I notice that I do something on stage and the audience is like not in it, I take it personally. And that's something that I will be working on for a long time. But I always knew who I was, but I definitely tried to forget about that when I moved to London because it was just so new and so shiny. I didn't feel like those words at all. And I thought that I had to do what other people were doing in order to have that life that I wanted, which ironically was not the life that I was making for myself. It was what other people were telling me was the life. And I feel like that was my college years, of like really discovering who I was. And I definitely made a lot of mistakes, and which is great because I learned from them, and I developed a lot of long, like lasting friendships that I'm so fucking grateful for. And but other than that, I feel like I still tend to lose myself because I forget that the industry is not a living thing, and I give so much to it. And I can't just sit and expect for it to give me something, because that's the job of an artist. That's my job. That's my calling more than a job, to create that for myself. So I definitely still struggle with imposter syndrome. In fact, my heart out is because I have therapy.
Yeah. Oh, good for you. That's the best excuse. Well, it's not an excuse. That's the best reason. We are all for it, lady.
It's funny though, because when you were talking earlier about when you don't like it when people say it was Orpheus's fault, right? Finding fault or finding judgment on other people. I've been trying really hard not to gossip or be judgy anymore. That's something I'm really releasing in my life, because what I found is every time I do it, I don't feel good about myself. And then what I came to realize was when we do judge people or find fault with people, it's just insecurity rearing its head. It's our own insecurities, and finding judgment or fault in others makes us feel better about ourselves. So
absolutely,
I'm making this conscious effort to say, what is it I want to judge so badly? Because it's really about me.
About me. Yeah. That's really hard to do. Like,
so hard.
It's really hard to do, especially when like I feel like everyone's exhausted nowadays, or at least a lot of people that I'm coming across. And being a part of the show schedule, as grateful as I am to have a job, I wish that schools would teach the importance of accountability, and also mental health. Like, I don't throw that word around lightly, because it's something I don't want to say suffer from, but that's something I absolutely relate to. Because I have so much, we all have so much to give. And if someone would have said, what you have to give is infinite, so don't align everything to the industry. Make sure that you have outlets, and the importance of like what an outlet is. Like, now I'm learning about outlets as like a young woman, and it's like, well, what outlets do you have? And I'm like, what do you mean? I work. And they're like, well, what do you do? What are you doing at home that like, where you can release, or where you can heal, or where you can feel? And honestly, that's where the brujeria comes in, is like really connecting myself back into the earth and humanity and my ancestors and my purpose, and creating not only space but a new way of walking around the world.
Foundation inside yourself.
Absolutely. And so that to me is like wonderful. That's what helps keep me grounded when I feel like I don't trust the voices in my head telling me that I'm horrible, or I'm this, or I'm that. Because if anything, I don't think that they can ever go away. I can definitely quiet them and tell them to shut the fuck up, but that is a scary part of my brain, because if anything, as I get older and I introduce myself to more people who I might not like, or might have weird opinions of me, if anything, that just makes that imposter monster bigger, because they have things to say. But no, I always win in the end. Also, here's a picture of me when I was in my backyard.
Oh, I love her. I also love that rock wall in your garden.
My papa made that for me.
Oh, I love the Papa wall.
A little witch. I love her.
It's so funny. Pretty. I used to teach yoga to teenagers, and I used to say to them all the time, there are days that I look in the mirror and I say things to myself that I would never say to another human being.
No, of course.
And when you realize how cruel you're being to that yourself, which is that little 5-year-old in that picture, it helps you to stop doing it. It's what you were saying, Steph. Like, you had that picture of Evie, you would never say something like that. So why do we do it to ourselves? And I think it's a very common thing. I don't think you're going to find a single, especially woman in the world, who doesn't do that to herself.
Well, if we go back to Eve, I believe it's the snake. I'm not going to say it's the devil, but that language is the snake.
you're trying to tell me that the whole reason humans sin is because Eve made a mistake? Like it was this.
It's the
Yeah,
snake.
let's not go there.
Yeah,
Let's
let's not
not
go there.
open this whole can of worms.
Whole
And a
can of
snake.
snakes.
Oh, Mama don't like it.
But I do want to go back because you kept saying feeding yourself in other ways because you give infinitely. I remember my voice teacher with whom I've been with since I was 11 years old. She would always say to me, look, you have a bank account, and whether that is spiritual bank account, physical bank account, or in relation to your talent, whatever you give in every performance, that is a withdrawal. And that means the next day you've got to make a deposit, because 2 or 3 shows in, you will be coming in at deficit. And it's still very true to this day. I know when my bank account is at a deficit and I have got to put a deposit.
Do you picture it the same way, Eva? Like a
No,
deposit
but
system?
I'm great. I do in a way, but I'm very grateful that you shared that imagery because that's helpful for me. I definitely have been open about my experience with feeling burnt out and how that, and also I have depression and I have I've always suffered with anxiety and having panic attacks on stage and at work. So, and the hard part for me is like healing from wounds that the industry has and myself together have put on my body while in that industry, like while in the environment that has wounded me, like how like the healing while you're doing that,
Which
that's
sounds impossible. It sounds like
yeah,
that would be impossible, really.
it does sound impossible, and it feels impossible a lot of the time. And I had to ask myself a lot of hard questions this year, like what are we doing, what is the
Yeah,
goal
right.
here? Because and if the goal, if there's any part of the sentence that has to do with anyone else, we need to really rethink.
That's
We really
right.
need to rethink what we're doing, because we have many choices. You know, it's not just, you know, and I had to ask myself, how long do I want to stay in the show? Like, do I want to take a break? Like, what would I like to do? And it's funny because when the world moves so quick, and it sometimes feels like these 8 show weeks go by so long. And at the end of the 8 show week, at the end of a Wednesday after 2 shows, I am
Spent.
do not disturb. Don't
Yeah.
call me. Don't
Yeah.
text me. Don't even ask anything of me. I just want to do nothing. And it just feels like not only a deposit, but then interest. Like I'm, you know,
Yeah.
it's like a loan from the bank, and it's like I get from all the work that we're doing and all the audiences and the butts and seats, I get the joy of whatever little joy that I feel, and it does feel little sometimes because it's just so exhausting. And then on top of that's interest. It's like, do you want to go hang out with your friend today? I'm gonna make you happy. Oh, well, are you gonna talk a lot? Because your voice. You got
That's
2
right.
shows tomorrow.
That's
And
right.
it's just like, why? Not why. I love my job. I do not like sacrificing my health for the sake of the schedule.
I hear that so completely. 2 things are like chiming into my brain right now. 1, do you want to be special or do you want to be happy?
Ooh,
2, has your prison become too comfortable that it's now become your home? These are 2 questions that literally viscerally, they were presented to me within the last week. And my belly took such a turn that I was like, Block, you've got to pay attention to what's manifesting itself physically, because it is resonating with you. I don't know if it's that cleanly or if it's the full truth, but there are partial truths and pieces of the puzzle that I need to apply to myself. And I think that, do you want to be special or do you want to be happy, is a real big one for me right now. And I'm not saying that we can't have both. I'm not saying that happiness doesn't show itself to me when I'm on stage. I am having to make a lot of life choices, and it really is a balancing act.
absolutely.
It's a really interesting thing to really think about, right? Because my road was different than yours, right? Steph, when I had a child, I stepped away.
Yes.
And that was very intentional on my part, mostly because I'm Sicilian and very, I'll do it myself. And I didn't let anybody babysit my son for the first year.
You didn't let anybody hold your son for the first 3 years.
His feet didn't touch the ground. So because I didn't trust anybody, I trusted my husband and my mother, and that was it. So I knew that it was not going to be a possibility for me to go to work with this little person at home. So I made that choice. But I think what's really important here is you don't have to blow up what you have to grow into something new.
Absolutely.
And you have the power to reshape whatever you decide. And it's the energy that you put into the reshaping that matters. So it's like you said, I don't want to do the negative struggle is real, the juggle is real. You have the power of infinite possibilities. And those infinite possibilities don't mean that you can't have something that you love. You just have to reshape it. It doesn't need to be destroyed. It just needs to be reshaped.
Don't tear down the house, just redo the kitchen and see what that feels like.
You can gut the whole house, but you know, keep the frame. And you know, I've been out of the business so long that now me stepping back in feels utterly joyful. I have the energy. I'm excited. I can't wait.
It's your happy. You found a big piece of your happy.
But I stepped away for a long time. And had I not, I maybe wouldn't be so excited about stepping back in. So, and I'm not blowing up what I have to do it. So you have to, it's like a chess game, right? It's like certain pieces need to move at different times and you have to be one step ahead. And you do have to take with what you were saying, like accountability. And there's a theory in yoga that says we are true personal power is neither oppressive. It's neither oppressive nor submissive. It's 50-50. And you are 50% responsible for everything that happens to you, good and bad.
Absolutely.
Love saying that out loud.
I love that. And I also love that you teach yoga because I do yoga every morning and every night. That is my I love it. I also think too that like when everyone says everything happens for a reason, and I say that out of like a defense mechanism, people being like, that's a long time you've been in the show, like you ready to leave? I'm like, it'll happen. But then I have to remember, like you said, it's my responsibility, which means if I make a decision, then I have to give it a good reason.
Yeah.
Like if I'm going to stay doing 8 shows a week and know that that's fucking exhausting, then I have to give a good reason to myself to go to work.
Yeah.
And if it sounds cold to say just for this week or today, you know what? I'm so tired. I do not want to go to work today, but you know what? I want to get that paycheck. Good. That's a good enough reason for me.
That's right.
You know what I mean?
because your intention is clear. You're making a clear choice based on
your why is there. That's right.
Exactly.
That's right.
But it's what you were saying. The stuff that we teach in school isn't the life stuff. We should be teaching personal responsibility, empathy, personal power, kindness,
understanding emotions.
It's not about straight A's. What's also really wonderful to see in someone as young as you, and even like as young as Michaela. Remember, we were talking to Michaela Diamond, and she was so impressive. Her self-knowledge again, so impressive.
Oh, do you guys know each other? Because I think the two. Okay,
we went for dinner. We went for dinner once, and we just kind of sat there for hours. And we were just like, "This is."
Oh, you two could rule the world.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
This is so exciting to me because when if you two ever decide to be parents and raise children, the stuff that you're going to impart, they always say like heal the mom, heal the child. You guys are already healing before you even have the kids, where most of us have the kids and then we start figuring out our healing. Yeah. And this is also really fascinating. We pass on our DNA to our children, right? Of course. But what we don't realize is that DNA is filled with all of our past experiences. Yeah. So in Rwanda, there was a genocide in the 90s. That whole generation has now had children. Their children are suffering post-traumatic stress from the parents, what the parents went through. Right. So the children don't even know about what the parents went through, yet they're physically having.
They're holding it, yeah.
That's right. And so we pass all that stuff on to our kids. So here are young, strong women like you and Michaela, and you're already figuring all this stuff out, like in your 20s. And so when I don't know, I just can't even imagine the generation that you guys are going to raise.
When I teach, these 2 or 3 hour master classes, they do ask, what's the one class that you feel you still use or that informs a lot of your performance? And I say therapy. Yeah. Because if you don't know yourself first, how can you possibly put on the cloak of another character?
That's
right. Or infuse the truth of of a true life, a full-bodied life, until you ask all the hard questions of yourself
Right.
before you start peeling the layers of yourself and your hurt and all of the vulnerability that's necessary.
Yep,
Because this
absolutely.
entire business is really a catch-22, you know?
Yes.
Be thick-skinned, but you have to be open-hearted and vulnerable to be
Ugh.
truthful, to tell the story.
I feel like you will be swayed if you're not giving your whole ether of who you are strong boundaries.
I think some of the happiest people are those with really clear boundaries.
Yeah,
They don't say
I
yes when they don't want to
completely
say
agree.
yes. Yeah, they're and
Yeah.
you can have really strong boundaries and be very kind and very
Oh,
generous and giving,
sure.
but your boundaries are clear.
I've been really trying to study how the chakras work and also
Oh,
how just
girl, I
alignment.
teach the chakras.
Of course you do. Of course you do. But alignment, and I used to think like, okay, gut, heart, head, like what is happening here? And I was definitely on the right track there, asking myself those questions, but I was forgetting about all the rest of the chakras and all the like the etheric chakras but also the connections I have with my ancestors and my family who came before, and even my family that's alive today. And that to me makes making decisions clear. So when something happens where I'm like feeling very anxious and I tend to withdraw and push everyone away because I don't want to feel the pain of them leaving without me being ready, or just being so horrible to myself because that means that no one can be horrible to me. I've already been horrible to myself. Like things like that. I just have to, I'm doing a lot better of just being able to sit in the moment and go to that place where I can only hear my breath and ask myself, where is it feeling where is it feeling like there's a black hole there? Because it's fixable, but we need to like get to the source. I mean, Eckhart Tolle says, the whole thing he says about like the thorn in the side, like people complain about the pain of the thorn being in the side, but you have to actually like take the thorn out
Of the thorn. Yeah.
of the thorn. And that thinking is it's just so deeply spiritual to me, and it's really hard to do because not you don't always get the time to sit with yourself in a crazy schedule, in a crazy world where social media is constantly in your face telling you what you have. And that's one of the horrible things about having the phones listen to you. It's like if someone says, I'm feeling anxious, and
Oh,
they
I
might
know.
not
We're
know the
all going to get
gravity.
Instagram ads. We're all going to get the ads now, y'all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's people, it's these sites though telling you what you are. And a lot of times you're scared and you go, am I that? I guess I am. And then you take that on, and but I do recognize that it's a part of me, which means as a whole, I am bigger than that.
Yes, ma'am.
I do have high expectations of myself, and I don't know where they come from. I think it might come from a place of like wanting to continuously please people and shock people and surprise people, which I'd like to find out why I feel the need to have that, in the back of my head. But I definitely have at times exceptionally low self-esteem to the point where it hinders even my access on stage. And I wish that was talked about more. I wish people talked more about vocal health issues and
Oh my
things that are
gosh.
normal. Like just because you go to school and you do 8 shows a week, it doesn't mean every show is going to be perfect. In fact, if you think of it like that, no show will be perfect. No show will be good. If you're expecting every show to be perfect,
What is perfect? What is perfect?
who knows?
I think it's the expectation that's been laid on, right? So I,
Mhm.
even in this interview, have said, you're remarkable. Tell me I'm taking some liberties, perhaps speaking on your behalf, but I'm also speaking to my experience. Okay. So then if that's what my voice has done in the past, then I must do that the next performance, or else I have failed in achieving giving that audience what they're expecting. As something as silly as I belted Just to Find the Beans, right? Which is a ridiculous thing, but it was something I wanted to interpret the text I wanted to give it weight.
Yeah.
Then all of a sudden there's a meme and there's a TikTok video.
Yeah.
And now people they're coming to the show literally just to hear
that part.
I Justify the Beans belted. And now I'm tired. And my voice is like, why are you belting E's and F's for no apparent reason? Like, why are you doing it? Because the bed has been made and people are expecting it. And I'm starting to pare away from that because I was finding that I was getting nervous. How are these 4 effing notes going to come out every night for 4 notes in a in a 3-hour show where we're singing an entire thing? The weight that was put on. So perhaps that is part of the dialogue that's going in your head too.
Totally. And I think too, like, it's important for everyone to be aware that like artists are not at the beck and call of the audiences. We work with you. We work with you. The storytelling doesn't exist without a listener. And so as beautiful as that is, I'm trying in this chapter of my life to understand that I can easily let go of the expectations people have of me because they don't even know what they want. In the best way, they might really want to hear something, and that's the beauty of having phones now, is that they can just go look it up, and I don't have to watch it myself. I can just like not have TikTok or not have Twitter, which is great.
That's right.
But I also think too that it's a teaching moment for everybody because I can let go of the expectation. I feel liberated to be myself in the moment and give you what I feel I want to give you. And then in the moment, we can all enjoy the fact that this is happening live, and there are humans on stage and we're connecting with the humans in the audience. That to me is more impressive and more of an experience. And
So
also like
let's-
in a musical, like there's a story, there's a script, there's notes that I have to sing. In my own cabaret, like that's where I feel like I can flex my muscles and I can sit back into the idea that is anything can happen and I can make it happen because I can say whatever I want, I can sing whatever I want, I can interact with the audience, and it feels freeing. And those types of outlets, I'm so like excited for actors and actresses and just people coming into the industry at any age. I never think it's too late for anybody to start something new, but the importance of giving yourself the space and the breathing room to be flexible. A dancer can't warm up their body without all of the parts of the body being warm, and a singer can't really do the best performance without really warming up every part of their voice and relaxing the muscles. And I feel like the more tense we are about things and the more stressed we are about situations and about meeting people's expectations, the more realistically we will fall and short of those expectations because we're already telling ourselves this is the best it's going to be, rather than being in the moment and living in the moment. That's the beauty of live theater,
and
it's
discovering
like,
something new that's the best it could be.
of course. So what I crack, but I crack because I'm crying. Are you really gonna remember the crack? Are you gonna really remember how you felt?
Right,
Exactly.
All right, we've arrived at the 5 questions, but just before, a word from our sponsors. If we called your family and said you have been arrested, what would they assume you have done to put yourself in jail?
Oh God, I don't know. It can't be anything to do with drinking because I've not been drinking for the past like 3 or 4 months. I would say probably oh God, I don't know. I once stole a Reese's bar from Target and I ate it in the store.
You're a chocolate thief. I love that about you.
I was really hungry. I was like 13.
At the beginning of this show, I called you a badass, and that's the worst you can come up with. I have to redo the opening.
No, Mary Lee can do circles around you. I've been arrested. I've been in jail. We'll talk about that later. Go ahead.
Oh, yes, we will.
Okay. If we're to go inside your closet, is there an item or a piece of clothing or something that you will never get rid of for the memories that it holds?
Oh yeah, the outfit that I was wearing when Reeve told me he loved me for the first time.
Oh, we didn't even get to talk about that at all, and I would love to talk about that.
That's a whole other
podcast.
Other
That man is the sun to me.
Landing softly into love.
Okay. And our 4-year anniversary is my birthday.
Oh my goodness. So much to celebrate. Okay, beach, mountain, desert, or city.
Beach,
okay.
beach.
With whom? And you get to bring one thing.
Oh, with my family, including my dogter, Petunia, my long-haired chihuahua. And with anything?
One thing, one item.
Fat joint. Easy.
Yeah, okay, done.
Easy. Yeah.
Hard punctuation on that one. She knows what she's bringing.
Yep. It's in the basket.
Okay. Childhood crush. Who was it? First crush.
First crush? Oh no, this is really embarrassing. This is really embarrassing. It was Simba.
Si- I love that answer.
It was Simba. It was
Oh
an
my
animal.
gosh. Oh,
It was Simba,
gentle,
and then it
yet
was
fierce,
it
good
was
head of
Shell.
hair.
Good head of hair.
Yeah. If you were a nail polish color, what's the color and what's the cheeky little name to that color?
Oh, it'd be something like, oh, I don't know, cheeky. I can't go in between. It's either really nasty or just like too tame.
Okay,
I
no, let's
can't
go
say yet.
nasty. Yeah.
I would say,
You
oh, I
have to
don't know.
redeem the badass thing. So go ahead. Go for it.
I would say cunty blue.
Oh my gosh, I don't even know what that looks like. And I would be like, you have to see a doctor. Something is horribly wrong down there. Okay,
Oh my
badass.
God.
Thank you for your time. And then we'll have another episode where we talk about love and
Yes,
all of the
please.
other
I would
portions
love
of
to.
your life.
This has been so refreshing, and just I feel like I just had a 3-day getaway. So thank you.
Oh,
No,
that's so
seriously,
nice.
thank you both for today, because this is, the start of the date show week, and
That's
I
right.
couldn't have started off on a stronger, more powerful foot. So thank you so much for having me
Thank
too.
you. We all filled
So
each
great
other
to
bank
meet you.
accounts. Okay, be
Oh,
well.
so good to meet you.
You
Bye.
too. Have a good day.
Bye.
Bye.
And now it's time for What Struck a Chord.
Oh, she's so awesome.
So awesome.
I just love her. How do you know her?
Well, I know her more socially. Okay, are you ready? This is going to sound so super fancy.
Okay,
So
go.
we did meet through Carnegie Hall,
Okay.
but we got to sit at the same table at Anna Wintour's home when she hosts the Tony dinner at her
nice.
house, right?
How
So
fun.
I was up for Cher, and she was up for Best Actress in Hadestown.
Oh my gosh.
And it was thrilling, and it was swanky, and it was strange and out of body and surreal. And when you go to an event like that, when at the core you're just kind of a theater geek, you really do connect with the people that are like, how are we here? Why are we here? Thank God you're here. So now I have something I can talk about, because I recognize the geek in you and you recognize the geek in me. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
That's so nice.
Yeah.
I'm so bad at those kinds of fancy functions. I get so quiet. I know it's funny when I tell people that I'm actually kind of quiet and introverted, they don't believe me. They're like, yeah, okay. I'm like, no, but I really am. Like when I go to those kinds of things, I just sort of clam up and sit quietly in the corner and observe, because I'm just not like, I don't know. I don't know what it
then
is.
does Michael lead the way then in most of the conversations if you two are together in these sort of,
Yeah, Michael doesn't
like
have
the
any
schmooze?
problem chit-chatting and I mean, talking to anyone, obviously, right?
Obviously,
He
yeah.
can like sit in a room with a president or sit in a room with a janitor, and he'll just chat with them. And I'm just
Yeah.
like totally silent. I just sort of say until somebody says maybe like one thing that I can relate to, and then I'll chime in, and then I just shut up again.
Oh, wow.
Really interesting. I
Yeah,
have
'cause
to.
you really are a talker and you have so much to share.
Yeah, but see, that's when that imposter,
imposter
syndrome
syndrome.
kind of rears its head. It's like, what are you talking about? No one wants to hear that, I want to go back to tattoos for a minute. I'm
Okay.
so jelly that you got a tattoo.
You were one of the first ones. I didn't really tell anyone because I was just so quick to decide and so quick to walk into a tattoo parlor. I checked their Yelp review and made sure everything was hygienic and safe. But yeah, when I posted it, all of my best friends were like, I'm sorry, what the question mark, question mark, question mark? How long did it take? Did it hurt? What made you decide? Is this something you want for the rest of your life? Like all of the floods of questions.
And what did Vivi say? It's her
Oh,
signature. That's the bomb.
so excited. And for those that don't know what it is, they wouldn't really recognize it.
Yeah.
Do you know what
Yep.
I mean?
Yep.
But she was just so loving that day. And when she took the Sharpie and just wrote it on my arm, there was a little bit like, this is my mama, and I'm stamping her a little bit, right? So when she saw mine, she got the Sharpie, she wrote it on her arm so that we could be tattoo sisters. She really asked, why can't I? I was like, babes, it's against the law. Like, not only would I be not a great mama to take you to a tattoo parlor and have you marked, but it is legally not allowed.
18. Tell her when she's 18, you'll go together and you'll both get one together.
But yeah, I think a lot of people think I'm this sort of straight-laced, which I guess I do present that way, kind of pure, and I don't know. They always say, "Oh, it's such pure content or friendly content." But yeah, I got the belly button ring when I was in my 20s, and then now that I was pregnant, it's just a big gaping hole that nobody wants to say with stretch marks. But yeah, when there are moments where I go, "Ooh, this feels right. This feels right for me." And if it surprises or shocks other people, that to me is the bonus, because I never want anybody, including Seb, to think that he's got my number and he knows exactly what makes me tick and exactly how I'm going to respond.
That's right, baby.
So
Keep
that's
them
right, baby.
surprised. That's right.
That's right.
I can't wait to get mine. I still don't know what exactly I'm going to get. I'll know it when I see it. And I'm not entirely sure where. Like, I love finger tattoos. So I saw this hysterical one where, hold on, inside the person's finger, they had this.
Here's the deal. They will tell you, even the artisans and the technicians themselves, nowhere where things crease, because it's very difficult to heal. The tattoo will stick or it will crack and it will lose its sort of clean lines. So inside your finger, just make sure it's in a spot that doesn't crease and can touch another part of the skin.
Okay, but this is what I saw. This person got this tattoo and then he would go like this.
No, you better not. Everybody, she drew a cheesy 1920s mustache on her finger and then put it under her nose.
No, I would never do that, but I saw somebody do it and I was like, that's hysterical. But I do like because Eva had one on her finger.
Yes, she did.
And I love that. I love just a little one on your finger. I might do that. I don't know what I'm going to do yet, but it's going to be something. I'll let you know in June.
Oh man, let me know in June.
I get my marker off this finger now.
Oh no, now you've got a mustache on your finger.
On my finger. All right. Well, this was so fun. I love her.
As do I. I just find it so wonderful that at the end, again, speaking of expectations or surprising people, that they look at us and go, gosh, that didn't feel like an hour of any sort of interview or press moment. It's just a really open conversation that feeds all three of us. And
it's my favorite thing.
Me too. It's my favorite thing.
Yeah, I love that. I love when people are like, that was so much fun. I wasn't expecting that at all. That's the goal, baby.
Yep.
Well,
all right.
I love you.
I love you too.
And I will see you very soon. Couple weeks.
My friend.
Okay. Love you. Stages podcast is produced by Stephanie J. Block and Mary Lee Fairbanks in association with iHeartRadio. It can be heard on the iHeartRadio podcast and iHeartRadio Broadway or wherever you listen to your podcasts.
Please join our cast by signing up at stagespodcast.net, listening, sharing, and leaving a 5-star review. It all makes such a difference in getting the word out. Thanks for listening, and we will see you again soon.